Reading from the Bhagavad-Gita as it is, 18th chapter, text number 64. Sarva guyatamam boya Shrinu me paramam vacha Ishtosi me dridam iti Tato vakshami te hitam Sarva guyatamam, the most confidential of all. Bhuya, again, Shrinu, just here. Me, from me. Paramam, the supreme. Vacha, instruction. Ishta asi, you are dear. Me, to me. Driyaram, very. Iti, thus. Tata, therefore. Vakshyami, I am speaking. Te, for your. Hitam, benefit. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation. Because you are my very dear friend, I am speaking to you my supreme instruction, the most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this for me, for it is for your benefit. Purport. The Lord has given Arjuna knowledge that is confidential, knowledge of Brahman, and still more confidential, knowledge of the super soul within everyone's heart. And now he is giving the most confidential part of knowledge. Just surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At the end of the 9th chapter, he has said, Man mana, just always think of me. The same instruction is repeated here to stress the essence of the teachings of Bhagavad-Gita. The essence is not understood by a common man, but by one who is actually very dear to Krishna, a pure devotee of Krishna. This is the most important instruction in all Vedic literature. What Krishna is saying in this connection is the most essential part of knowledge, and it should be carried out not only by Arjuna but by all living entities. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakchodan Militam Yanam Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manabhastam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Bandeham Sri Guru Sri Yota Padakamalan Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parjana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyahevacha Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sarva Guyatanam Bhuya Shinume Paramam Vajaha Ishto Sime Dridham Iti Tato Vakshami Te Hitam. Because you are my very dear friend, I am speaking to you my supreme instruction, the most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this from me, for it is for your benefit. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is speaking to Arjuna, his very dear friend. And he's telling him that I'm giving you, I'm speaking to you this most confidential knowledge. So listen, hear carefully, because I'm speaking for your benefit. Prabhupada is explaining in the purport that Krishna is giving, first of all, confidential knowledge. Knowledge about Brahman, the absolute truth. So that refers to the impersonal aspect of the absolute truth. As explained throughout the Vedic literatures, as in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavaniti Shabdyate. That is knowledge is understood by the learned sages who follow the Vedic literatures to be as the impersonal aspect of the absolute truth, and Brahman, and then that which is more confidential, as explained here by Prabhupada, knowledge of the Paramatma, Paramatmeti, the Lord in everyone's heart, the super soul. And then, which is the actual most confidential knowledge, that is Bhagavan realization, understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, as the absolute truth. Krishna is a person having a transcendental form, eternal form, full of bliss and knowledge, Satchidananda Swarup. And it is explained in the Vedic literatures and the Srimad Bhagavatam, Ete chamsa kalapumsam Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indriyar Vyakalam Lokam Ridyanti Yoge Yoge. That Krishna certainly, he is accepted as the ultimate Supreme Personality of Godhead, Swayam Bhagavan. Only Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is no different from Radha Krishna, are addressed as Swayam Bhagavan, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. And everyone else, all the personalities of Godhead, the different other personalities of Godhead, like Vishnu, Narayan, even Ramchandra Bhagavan, they are expansions of the original personality of Godhead, or expansions of the expansions. So throughout the Vedic literatures, so that is explained, and the intelligent persons, they have understood and they have recognized that fact. And then after that, when this is clearly mentioned, so by Krishna himself, Krishna is saying, and Prabhupada is explaining here in the purport, that you should just surrender unto me. As at the end of the Bhagavad-Gita, Sarva Dharmam Parijyaja Mamekam Saranam Vaja. And always think of me, as in the next verse, tomorrow's verse. So that one should completely surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead with body, mind and words. Thinking about Him, speaking about Him, glorifying Him, and then serving Him with all the senses. Whereas in the other realization of the Absolute Truth, like Paramatma, so that may be realized that Krishna, in His expanded form as Paramatma, is situated in everyone's heart. But those on that platform, the yogis, they are meditating, but they are not doing any tangible service. They are meditating, they may be glorifying to some extent, which is also one form of service. Even meditation is a kind of service, thinking about the Supreme. But there is no substantial service and an exchange there. What to speak of Brahman realization, there is incomplete knowledge, saying that the Absolute Truth is there, but it has no form. The Mayavadis, the impersonalists, they're meditating on that, on the light, Supreme Brahman, the Supreme Absolute Truth. But they are saying that it has no form. It is just some substance, spiritual substance, but is no form. And we belong to that as individual soul, but they also do not recognize a form of the soul. And ultimately the soul will merge in the Supreme Soul. So that is no complete knowledge. And that is partial realization, the first step in spiritual life. To understand that beyond this material world, beyond the duality of this material world, there is a spiritual realm. Spiritual substance is there. But it has no form. So that is the beginning of realization of that which is beyond this material world, spiritual substance. But one has to go on further. And those who are realizing that the Supreme Lord is in everyone's heart, they're a little more advanced, but they also do not have complete knowledge. And they will understand, but even there, some, they will accept that as soul, we have a form also. But many of them, they also want to merge into that Paramatma. So various kinds of munis or yogis are there, but they do not have complete knowledge. They are not so fortunate as having obtained the ultimate conclusion. They are not so fortunate of having come in contact with a pure devotee who has the correct understanding. They are not fortunate that they have been instructed by the Supreme Lord Himself, as Arjuna here. And so Krishna is speaking to his dear devotee, who is always coming with Krishna. Whenever Krishna comes in this material world, then Krishna is coming also. Krishna's devotee Arjuna is coming, and Krishna is speaking to him, giving this knowledge. So here mentioned, te hitam, for your benefit I am giving you this knowledge. So listen to this carefully, for your benefit. Arjuna is here for the time being bewildered, but we should understand that bewilderment is actually transcendental bewilderment. That is not the position of the Lord for the time being and what to do and what not to do. But because he's directly associated with the Lord, then he will have the correct understanding as Krishna is speaking to him directly. And so therefore Krishna is saying it is for your benefit, this knowledge. So you're having the proper understanding, so you may be fully engaged in devotional service, so you may fight now and understand your duty that you have to fight in this connection here. As he spoke the Bhagavad-Gita just before the great war between the Kauravas and the Pandavas. So he was to some extent bewildered of what to do and what not to do. And he did not want to fight, seeing his superiors, his Gurujan. And we have to take instructions from the elders, from the spiritual master, and follow their instructions. So if there is some doubt, then we may submissively ask question. But never one should argue with the spiritual master or the superiors. What to speak of fighting with them? So here he was supposed to fight. So he was, it is quite natural, he was bewildered what to do. How I can fight with Dronacharya, Bhishmadev, Kripacharya? They are my Gurujan, my superiors, my spiritual masters. How I can fight with them? So it was natural to be bewildered in that situation. He didn't know what to do. What shall I do in this situation? How I can fight? So he's a great devotee of the Lord. So in this situation he was perplexed, he was bewildered. So many times the devotees are also bewildered by the internal energy, Yoga Maya. They do not exactly know what to do or what not to do for the time being. But because they are surrendered to Krishna, and then Krishna will reveal to them what they are supposed to do, what they have to do. Even sometimes Prabhupada, he was expressing, now what shall I do? In certain circumstances. But then as when he's continuing, as Prabhupada was continuing with his chanting, and then it was clear to him what he had to do, what Krishna wanted him to do. Even the Supreme Lord sometimes, as we can see in his Braj Leela, his wonderful pastimes are there, most extraordinary, most wonderful pastimes. Then Krishna, by his own energy, sometimes he becomes bewildered, what to do, what shall I do? When Agarsur came, demon in the form of a snake, and then he opened his big mouth, and then the cowboys, they could not understand. They were also bewildered by Yoga Maya. They did not know that this is a demon. And they were wondering something very strange, and we didn't see that a few days ago. What is this huge thing? And a big cave, how it suddenly came here? But then, so they were a little bewildered, but they were thinking anyhow, Krishna is with us, he will protect us. And they were entering the mouth. And then Krishna at that point, he saw, oh, what is happening there? And the boys are going inside, my friends. What shall I do now? He was thinking also, what shall I do? So he was momentarily bewildered by his own Yoga Maya. So therefore it is explained by the Acharyas, Krishna is many times becoming bewildered, Mukunda. But at the same time then is Sarvagya, he knows everything. So after a few moments, he knew exactly what he has to do, what is happening. And then he also entered the mouth of that big demon, and he closed his mouth, and he thought, okay, that's my meal for today. And then Krishna is finished, these boys are finished now. But then Krishna, he showed his power, and is the Supreme Lord, is eternal, full of bliss and knowledge. He's unborn. He's eternal. He will never die. Everlasting, ever existing. So then he expanded himself and he became like a fireball. And then Aghasur, he was suffocated and he died. He left this form of a big snake. And then the cowboys, Krishna's friends, they could go out again. And so even the Supreme Lord sometimes is mugdha by his own energy, but at the same time he is in control of everything. But in the pastime he becomes momentarily bewildered. Similarly, devotees, they know everything, they know Krishna. They have love for Krishna. Even in Braj many times they don't know that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Mostly they're covered. Just thinking Krishna is my friend, my beloved. So, because that is Krishna's desire. When he's in Braj, so which is his eternal place, his most beloved abode, highest realm in the spiritual realm, there he does not want to know that I am the Supreme Lord, I am the source of everything. I am simply a cowboy, a gopa, and Nanda Babi Yashoda are my parents. Radharani and the gopis are my beloved consorts. Sudam, Sridam, Madhumangal, Kinkini and so on, they are my very good friends and I want to play with them. And then some servants are there, but there's loving relationship there, and the cows and the calves and the birds and all the living entities there. They have a loving relationship with Krishna, as Krishna wants, as Krishna desires. And so by his internal energy they do not know that Krishna is God. Just like a king or a president of a state. So he's acting as a king and is the king of the country and he's giving orders and everyone is respecting the king. And so that is his position and he's trying his best to keep law and order and to satisfy all the citizens, to make sure they have whatever they need. And then usually as a king, a righteous person, then he will be satisfied with that also. But then he has his private life, his wife and then children, relatives, and there he does not want to be addressed as, "Oh my dear king," and he does not want that his wife and his children, they are there with folded hands and saying, "My dear king, please give us some orders." No, there's a confidential, there's an intimate relationship there, which the king is relishing. And at that time he does not want to be the king. He simply wants to be the husband, he wants to be the father, he wants to be the friend of those who are associated with him. So that is the position of the Supreme Lord in his highest abode. He does not want to be recognized as the Supreme Lord. Whereas in other realms, in Vaikuntha, there is recognized as the Supreme Lord, and so that is also Krishna's ultimately for his pleasure, because all the expansions are expansions of him. So in this way he's relishing that ras, that relationship, that mellow in Vaikuntha, in these expanded forms of Narayana and Vishnu. So his associates, in relationship to him, they will also feel this transcendental pleasure. And those in Braj, they feel the most pleasure there. Because Krishna is most pleased by that sweet relationship. He himself is most happy with that situation and his associates. Whereas in Vaikuntha, there's own reverence, there's a loving exchange there, but there's some own reverence there. Just like one time, that is explained by Sanatana Goswami, Brihad Bhagavatamrita. One sadhaka was there, and so he was in church for the absolute truth. And so he got one mantra from his spiritual master, he was chanting, and he came to different realms, and somehow he landed in Vaikuntha. And then he was there, but because by nature he was actually belonging to Braj, so he had the feeling of having a wonderful loving exchange with the Supreme Being. So he saw Narayan there, and he wanted to embrace him. And then the others say, hey, what are you doing? Oh, it's God. You cannot do that. You have to be there with folded hands and offer prayers. You cannot embrace, he's the Supreme Lord. Oh, okay, sorry. But then he was not feeling so good. Okay, well, it's maybe not my place here, what to do. But still he was there for some time, but then Narayan understood that, because Narayan is Supreme Lord, that this particular boy, his name was Gop Kumar, he belongs to Braj, to the highest realm. And he told me, don't worry, you will go very soon to your destination. And there all your desires will be fulfilled. So that is the highest realm, Braj. So Krishna, Tehitam, he spoke for the benefit to some extent of Arjuna. So he could be properly situated in his relationship with Krishna and do what Krishna wants, fighting here in this case and killing the enemies. Because we have to do what Krishna wants, not what we want as a devotee. Anyabilashita shunyam jnana karmanavritam anukalyana krishna nushilanam bhaktirottamam. Uttam bhakti, the highest realm of pure devotional service. Krishna nushilanam, as Krishna wants, anushilanam, following Krishna, Krishna's desire. So that and has to be favorable. Anukul bhav, favorable mood should be there. And then anyabilashita shunyam, no other desire should be there. Only for Krishna's pleasure, not what we want, what the devotee wants. What Krishna wants. Krishnendriya priti, for Krishna's satisfaction of Krishna's senses. We light some incense and offer to the Lord so Krishna can smell. And when Krishna is satisfied and smelling the nice incense, then the devotees, they can also smell. Oh, nice incense offered to Krishna, wonderful. But materialistic person, they will light some incense and nice smell. But that is not the proper situation. Krishna has to be in the center. And then offering some ghee lamp to Krishna, for Krishna's pleasure. And then the devotees also, they can feel pleasure. But other people, materialistic persons, they will offer some candles. Like in the West, they have candles. And they light, oh nice, romantic. Well, some yogis also, they have a candle, maybe or a fire, and meditating on that helps some meditation. But Krishna is not there, then what is the use? Krishna has to be there, Krishna has to be in the center. Offering to Krishna, so that there will be light. And that is an enlightenment is there. So whatever is there, offered to Krishna for Krishna's senses pleasure. And then the devotee can also feel pleasure. When Krishna's senses are satisfied, then our senses will be satisfied. Teitam for, but here we should understand, and Prabhupada is explaining the last sentence, so it is not only for Arjun's benefit, but for the benefit of all living entities, for all jivas. Because Jivera Sopoi Krishna era Nittadas. By nature, everyone is an eternal servant of Krishna. By nature. But the majority of the Baddha Jiva, of the conditioned souls in this material world, they do not know that they are meant to serve Krishna. They are not properly situated. So therefore, then, Krishna is giving the knowledge, or through his expansions, through his representatives, the pure devotee is giving this knowledge for the benefit of the Baddha Jiva, the conditioned souls. In this material world. Even in the transcendental realm, so actually two kinds of living entities, that is explained by Bhaktivinoda Thakur and previous acharyas, and that is Mahaprabhu's opinion. That Mahaprabhu himself has instructed, as explained by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Dashamula Tattva, the 10 essential truths about the Absolute Truth. So two kinds of living entities, Nitya Siddha, Nitya Baddha. So eternally perfect, who are always serving Krishna, and then the Nitya Baddha, those who are conditioned since time immemorial, and they may be there in the Brahmajyoti or Krishna's body, and they are not acting. They are in conditioned state, spiritually conditioned. They are not serving Krishna, although by nature they are also eternal sons of Krishna. But then when this material world is created, then Krishna himself, or his expansions, or his devotees, they are revealing this knowledge as here, this most confidential knowledge. Not only Brahman realization or Paramatma, but Bhagavan realization that the Absolute Truth is a person. Eternal form is there, full of transcendental bliss. Chid Ganananda Rupam Vigyapta Bhaktvat Vigyapya Bhagavad Tattvam Chid Gananta Sarupam Chid Gananda Sarupam. It is concentrated bliss. Chid Ganananda Rupam, the transcendental form of the Supreme Lord. It is concentrated transcendental bliss. Eternal form is there. And full of knowledge. Krishna is the source of everything, the source of all knowledge. So then, when this material world is manifested by the sweet will of Krishna himself, it becomes manifested sometimes for some time. Sometimes manifested for some time. And then the Baddha Jiva who come here, then if they are fortunate enough to hear from the Supreme Lord or his representatives, then they can come to the correct understanding, and then they will engage in the loving devotional service to Krishna, and then they can be liberated. And once liberated, there is no more coming back to this material world. So he's giving this knowledge here to all living entities, instructing all the living entities here. So, but the common man, he cannot understand that, as Prabhupada is explaining. But only those who are very dear to Krishna, the pure devotees, they can understand. So who is very dear? Those who are actually, as explained here, as explained in the 12th chapter, who is dear to Krishna. Towards the end, the last 7 verses, Krishna is explaining who is dear to him. One who is engaged in devotional service, who is beyond the dualities of this material world. And it's explained in next verse. Always thinking of Krishna, worshipping Krishna with love, Priti Purvak. So they are serving Krishna, they are thinking about Krishna. And then Krishna is reciprocating. So they are dear to Krishna. And then Krishna is giving this knowledge, the understanding, the realization. Tesham satati yuktanam bhajadam priti purvakam dadami buddhiyagam tam yena mahamupayanti te. To those who are constantly devoted to me, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So that is Krishna's desire, that everyone come to him, go to the spiritual realm. But only those who are serving him, first they have to acknowledge him as a supreme being, and they have to serve him. And then there's a reciprocation, then they can understand. So, we are fortunate to be here by Krishna's mercy and by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, Gaura Priyajan, very dear devotee of Mahaprabhu, dear to Mahaprabhu, because he's spreading this Krishna consciousness. He was spreading all over the world the chanting of the holy names. So by Prabhupada's mercy we are here, and he's very dear to Krishna, Mukunda Preshta. So the spiritual master is always engaged in the service of his spiritual master, in the service of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the service of Sisi Radha and Krishna. And so by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, so we are very fortunate to be here and to be engaged in devotional service, to be able to make advancement in spiritual life. And so we should endeavor to become dear to Krishna. So by following Prabhupada's instructions and then by serving Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in a loving exchange. So we have to try to understand and establish the relationship with first Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So should be loving a relationship. We serve Mahaprabhu and then there's a reciprocation, there's an exchange. And then by Mahaprabhu's mercy, then we can approach Radha and Krishna. And then we serve them, and then there's a loving relationship. And so by doing that constantly, day by day, so by Prabhupada's mercy, we have the opportunity to do that. And then we can come closer to the goal, to the platform of pure devotional service, in loving exchange with Krishna. And as we continue, then we can realize Krishna's transcendental form, Satchidananda Swarup. And when we realize Krishna's form, then we can realize our form, our Satchidananda Swarup, our real form, and our relationship with Krishna, eternal relationship. And then, as Prabhupada is explaining in the introduction, which is a very long introduction, almost 40 pages, but he's covering here also practically everything. All the philosophy is already there in the introduction. So, and that is explaining what is the goal. That is to understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that you have an eternal relationship with Him. The eternal realm is the place where we have to go, and we have to leave this material world, this material realm. And then he's explaining about the relationship we can have with Krishna. He's explained about this Shantaras, Dasyaras, Sakyaras, Vatsalyaras, and Madhuryaras. So the purport, so we can have this neutral relationship with Krishna as the animals have, the trees in Braj, Although sometimes it is explained, so 5 are mentioned, relationships, but other places 4 are mentioned. Shantaras is not explained because Shantaras usually means also neutral. Like the yogis, they understand that Vishnu is the absolute truth, is situated in everyone's heart. But there is no exchange practically. There is no seva, they are not serving the super soul. And that is not the permanent situation, because the super soul actually is only accompanying the conditions on this material world. As long as the conditioned soul is not realizing his nature, his spiritual nature in relationship with Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, no Narayan, Bhagavan realization is not there, then Paramatma is there to help. So there's some Shantaras is there. So it is explained in Raj Shantaras is mentioned, but other places only 4 are mentioned. Shanta is not mentioned. Because even the cows and the trees, their form is also eternal, full of bliss and knowledge. And they are serving, they have these feelings of serving Krishna. And to some extent they are serving also Krishna. Like the cows, they're giving milk to Krishna. And they want to give milk to Krishna. And therefore Krishna is taking the cow's milk also. Although they are in this form and they cannot really embrace Krishna, because they are in the form of a cow, but they have loving feelings. So therefore they have some Vatsalya ras also, the cows. They want to be just like a mother or father, cows or the bulls. And others also are there, and even the trees and the creepers there. So they want to be touched by Krishna. They want that Krishna is taking their fruits. And even it is explained, Madhavendra Puri, he is a Kalpavriksha tree in the spiritual realm. And he can give all the rasas. Means he has all the rasas, otherwise how he can give? So he can give Madhurya ras, because they are there in the Nikunja also, the trees. And they can see the loving exchange of Krishna with the gopis, so they may have these feelings also. So Prabhupada is explaining these 5 rasas, and the highest of course is Madhurya ras of Krishna with the gopis. The lover and beloved, that is the highest. And then Vatsalya, parental. Although this is all perfect and complete, but still the acharyas have explained, and it is understood that the Gopi Bhav is the highest. And then Vatsalya Bhav, and then Sakhya Bhav is there. The friends, they are playing with Krishna. So Prabhupada is explained there. And knowing this, and knowing once, and realizing Krishna Sarup and our Sarup, that is known as Sarup Siddhi. And Prabhupada is writing, well, in the old version, new version, I don't know, Prabhupada is writing Sarup Gat, which is the same understanding. And after that, and Prabhupada is explained, after becoming perfect and realizing our Sarup, then after giving this body, we go to Krishna's planet where he's performing his pastimes. And then there is Vashtu Siddhi or Vashtu Gat. And then the body is fully developed, the eternal body, and then one can enter into the pastimes of Krishna, and that is actually the perfection of life. So Prabhupada, right in the introduction, he has revealed these things, and so we should try our best to come to that realization. That is the goal of life. Hare Krishna. Everything clear? Yes. Or any question? Yes.
Thank you for this. You said...
Yeah, there's a microphone for those who are listening on the radio.
You were speaking that we are here because of the mercy of Prabhupada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yes.
We have to do our best for self-realization. So my question is, should a sadhaka just focus on his sadhana and seva, or he should simultaneously check that whether he is advancing? And if yes, then what is the meter? What is the factors he has to consider?
Yes. Yes, actually it is both ways. One is simply by engaging in devotional service, it is natural that one will progress if one is simply engaging in devotional service. But at the same time, we have to also endeavor, like we have to endeavor to serve, we have to endeavor to advance also. Not that we just stay in one place. Just like if you go to school, we all went to school, and we know we had to study, we had to endeavor. Not okay, I just listen to the teacher. Homework I don't really like, I want to play. The children want to play, they don't want to do homework. But then the mother is there, no, you have to do your homework. And then he's doing homework, and then he's getting a little older, and he knows, in the higher classes, he knows, if I'm not studying, I will not pass the exam. Like in India, the 10th class board exams and the 12th board exams, and you have to really study a lot. If you're not studying, well, maybe you will pass, but not good marks. Or maybe you will not pass, you will fail. So you have to study, but then you have to make a conscious effort so that you can actually become conversant with the subject matter and get good marks. Similarly, in devotional life, you have to engage in devotional service, and naturally you will learn something, but then you have to make a conscious effort and see that you are actually advancing also. From Shraddha to Prem, 8 levels are there. First, faith has to be there, but there are 2 kinds of faith. One is Lokik Shraddha, ordinary faith, like many people, they believe in God. Yes, God exists. Okay, but are you doing something in that connection? Like many, all over the world, mostly in India, they have a little more God conscious, but even some people in the West, they still believe in God. But what they are doing, they are reading the Bible or doing something to advance? Nothing or hardly anything. So that will not do. So therefore that is lokik, that is ordinary, by the ordinary person of this world. There's some faith, yeah, God exists. But they're not making any endeavor to advance. And then there's Paramartik Shraddha, that is transcendental faith. And that is developed by coming in the association with those who are advanced, the spiritual master, the advanced devotees. Therefore, after Shraddha, so to make the faith actually strong, then Sadhu Sangha is there, association with the saintly devotees. And then in their association, then you can advance, but then again you have to endeavor more. Bhajana Kriya. Bhajan, you have to do bhajan. Kriya, you have to do some activities. Positive activities according to instructions of the spiritual master. If you're only going to the sadhu, like many Indians, they come here and they see, oh, he's a sadhu, and they know I touch the feet, I'll get some benefit. But just touching the feet will not do. Some benefit is there, but if you're not following the instruction of the sadhu, you will not go anywhere. But then you have to go to the spiritual master, you humbly and submissively ask questions and serve. Not just the spiritual master, but do what he says. And by doing this, then you can do bhajan, and then anatta nivritti, all the unwanted things in the heart which will go away. Because even while we engage in devotional service, then some unwanted things are there in the heart. And even the creeper may grow, but then there are some weeds there, just like a creeper is there, but then weeds are there. And they have to be cut. So unwanted things are there, so they have to be cut, they have to be thrown away. Then you can advance further. So you have to endeavor yourself also by doing bhajan on the direction of the spiritual master, and then you have to see, if you're not sure if I'm doing okay or not, then you ask the spiritual master. And then the anattas are there, being attached to material things, asat trishna, hriday durbalya, and then aparad, not being careful and offending the holy names, the deities, the Vaishnavas, the holy dham. So if you're not careful, then you cannot really advance. So you have to be careful, you must have knowledge what to do and what to avoid. And then you can advance further. Then you become fixed, nishta. But still, even there, some anarthas may be there, and you have to be careful that they are not disturbing you. And then you're fixed, and you know what you have to do. But then you have to go further. And as we know, you're chanting the holy names, and we should know how to chant the holy names, which mood we should chant the holy names. And then, so some taste should be there, ruchi. In the beginning, you're chanting is a kind of yagya, mahayagya. Okay, I have to try to chant, the mind is going here and there and thinking of things which are not so important. And then you have to control the mind and the senses and be fixed in chanting and hearing and trying to be contemplative and try to remember Krishna ultimately. Because that is an injunction, we should always remember Krishna, never forget him. Also while chanting ultimately. It's not that we are meditating on the impersonal Brahman, we're chanting and nothing should be there. No, not thought should be there. Yeah, no material thought, but should be some spiritual thought ultimately. We should be seeing Krishna, you should cry out to Krishna. Where are you while chanting? I cannot see you, but you should want to see Krishna. And you have to pray, you have to cry. So you can see Krishna sometimes, but the pure devotees are always seeing Krishna. Always. When they're chanting, even when they're not chanting, because they are pure devotees and they practice or they are eternally perfect. So if you're not always seeing Krishna, then you have to pray, Krishna, please, reveal yourself to me. In the beginning, at least sometimes, while chanting 2 hours, at least sometimes you should see Krishna, remember Krishna. And that will come when you serve the deities especially. Then there will be exchange. Then you can sometimes see Krishna. And then the taste will come. Ruchi. And seva ruchi, nam ruchi. And then it will become easy to chant. And then by doing that, by chanting with taste, then you become so much attached to Krishna. Asakti. And then you can give up all material attachment. And then bhav will come, transcendental emotions will come from the heart. And nothing to do with material emotions. Now in the beginning, when you're not yet so advanced in spiritual life, there are some emotions you want to serve Krishna. But then say, okay, I want to serve Krishna. But then lust, anger, greed are still there. So it is like, sweet rice and putting some salt inside. What is that? How you can offer? So that should go away, all these things, anarthas. And then these transcendental emotions will be there, and then there's a real loving exchange there. So it is explained by Rupa Goswami, from Shraddha to Prem, and then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He explained in Madhurya Kadambini, again the same, but in more detail, so we can understand where we are. So you can see by reading Madhurya Kadambini where you are. And if you're still not clear, then you can ask the spiritual master or the advanced devotee. They will tell you where you are. They can tell where you are. If they see you, maybe if they're very advanced, they can tell you where you are. Or they will ask you some questions and then they will know where you are. Like that. Just like an expert teacher. There's a boy there. So, he's a boy, he knows. The teacher will know, he's 5-6 years, he doesn't know much. But sometimes there's some genius, some children who are genius. And then the teacher will ask some questions and then according to answer, he will know where he is. So like that, the spiritual master will know also. If you don't know, then you can ask the spiritual master or the advanced devotees where you are. Okay? All right. Anything else? Yes.
In last few verses, the word super soul and its concept was discussed again and again. So, don't mind what I am asking to you. Only Prabhupada said that if you think that this deity is marble or stone, then it will remain marble or stone for you only. So you are the head pujari of our Krishna Balaram temple. So what is, if you wish to share, like Prabhupada said that you can talk to the deity and like that. So what is your experience closely with the deities? Krishna, does he talk? When I go in front of deities, I express a lot of emotions. At the same time, okay, deities are too big. Say Krishna is the Bhagwan feature, but Super Soul is a small 5-inch, Paramatma.
Das Angulam, 10 fingers, the Super Soul, it is mentioned. Das Angulam. Yeah, 10 fingers. Das Angulam, that is the size of Paramatma. That is mentioned Purusha Sukta. Yeah. Sasra Shesha Purusha Sasraksha Sahasrapad Sabomim Vishvado Vritva Das Angulam. Yeah, Das Angul, that is the size of the Super Soul. In our body. In the ant's body, of course, it's small.
It is 10 unglis of ant.
Yeah, maybe 10 ungli of the ant, yeah. Yes.
So one is this, so if the Super Soul is invoked,
the Super Soul is invoked, yeah.
Like when we chant the Mangala Charan and
yes.
like that.
Yes.
And if he's just, if I can feel he's saying you do this, like like I'm speaking to
right,
you,
right.
like literally, literally the deity.
Yes.
Then things would become 100% easier.
Yeah, sure, yeah. You're right, yeah. And we should wait for that.
Yeah.
But it will take some time that Krishna is talking to you. But it is there. If you're advanced, the pure devotee are talking and Krishna is talking back. If you're not pure yet, you may talk to Krishna, but you cannot hear Krishna. Krishna may be talking too, but you cannot hear because you're not pure. But we have to practice. So we are serving Krishna, and then we can ask, I hope you liked it, Krishna, today, what we offer to you. From your side, you have to endeavor. And then ultimately, then Krishna will reciprocate with you. And regarding Paramatma, we respect Paramatma, and is there to some extent guiding. But if you're a devotee of Krishna, you do pranam to Paramatma. Just like the gopis, Krishna disappeared from rasa dance, and they were looking for Krishna. And then Krishna took Chaturbhuj Roop, Vishnu Roop, with 4 arms, and the gopis were there. Narayan, pranam, pranam Narayan. Have you seen Krishna? Where is Krishna? So like this, when the Super Soul, you may see a devotee, may see Super Soul, okay, it's Paramatma pranam, where is Krishna? So we want to see Krishna, we want to take guidance from Krishna, from the deity or from Krishna in the heart. Paramatma we show respect, but, because we know we don't have an eternal relationship with Paramatma, because Paramatma is only in this world. And Paramatma is expanded form of Mahashankarshan, of Vishnu. So we offer pranam, but then our love is towards Krishna. The deity form Krishna in Golok, or Krishna in the heart, or Krishna in the Mahamantra. So we try to have a relationship with that Krishna. And then so we have to cultivate Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada has explained in Nectar of Devotion. It is a cultivation. We have to cultivate this Krishna consciousness. Becoming conscious of Krishna, that is Krishna consciousness. And that means you have to see Krishna all the time. And you have to act you have to think in this way. I'm doing this for Krishna, I'm doing that for Krishna. And then when the deities are there, so the opportunity is there to be personal. You go in front of the deities, outside you do pranam, you offer dandavat pranam, and then you see the deity. But then you can express your feelings, you say some mantra in glorification of Krishna. But then you can express your thoughts also. And then you have to actually then express your feelings, and then you may then also express your feelings that you would like Krishna to reciprocate. And Krishna will reciprocate. But it will take some time. Not that, okay, Krishna, how was your day? How is everything? Okay, you talk to me. Why are you not talking to me? You cannot force Krishna. Unless you're a small boy and then Krishna is merciful. Like there was one son of a devotee. And then the father told him, okay, I'm going away, you serve Gopal, you giving the lunch. And I was giving the lunch and, so asking Krishna, Gopal, please eat now. And Gopal there, like the deity, we cannot really see usually how Krishna is eating, only the pure devotee can see. And then he was crying, but you have to eat, Gopal, otherwise my father will come back, he will be angry that you have not eaten. And then Krishna, he quickly ate everything. So you have to express your feelings, but then you have to wait. So we have to be patient. But the reciprocation will be there when you're serving the deity, and not only on the altar, but especially on the altar, but even outside. If you practice this, actually there will be reciprocation. So that so that we can realize. Okay, the reciprocation is there. In the beginning, when I was first here I was asked to do the seva as head pujari. We didn't have devotees to serve, enough pujaris. Now we have so many. We have to tell devotees, okay, wait, you're on the waiting list. And because we have so many, because now the congregation members, they have increased. But in the beginning, hardly any devotees and no money. And also temple had no money. Now we have enough money, more than enough. Then I was asking also no money, and I was just head pujari and no money. As the temple president, no money for Janmashtami outfit. It was just 1 month before, 1.5 months. And then president, well, what can I do? Also I don't have money. You have to get the money from somewhere, somehow. And then what to do? There were no rich devotees around here. Then I was praying to Krishna. And please, Krishna, we don't have money for outfit for your, what to do? For your Janmashtami, we need one outfit. Please do something. And then actually 1 or 2 days later, when Mataji came, proper disciple from America, she just left the body a little while ago. We did the last Asha ceremony also just recently. Lavanga Latika was her name. Then she came with just the money we needed for the outfit. So reciprocation. I asked Krishna, Krishna arranged. Like this, it happened more than one time. So in this way then reciprocation is there, and you can see when you're serving the deities. Especially inside, but even from outside, you can have the relationship and sometimes offer something to Krishna or just pray to Krishna and ask for some reciprocation. And ultimately it will come. You just have to be patient. Okay? Hare Krishna. Okay, we stop here, 6:30. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavad-Gita ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.